Microphone on. Should I? Okay, to me. I don't hear you. Okay, I don't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Bill, can you hear me now?
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
There you are.
All right. We're 2 minutes away from start time. Crazy, man. Crazy. You're at the, yeah, there you go. I was going to say, you're at the bottom of your screen. I got to do something with the lights here. I really need to get a musical intro and a billboard on this thing. I just got to figure out how to do all that stuff. So let's see. Videos. Broadcast the video, create new video. No, that's not going to work. Have you seen the promo for RJO, the video promo?
I saw what you sent. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, and I just got the first rough, and it's almost finished for the Atlanta show as well.
Good.
So we got a few people on here. So
good.
Oh, we got a couple of seconds before we officially go. Although I'm not sure. Are we on now? End call. Yeah,
We're live.
Yeah, we are live. How'd that happen? Well, we've got some folks coming in. If you're in, sign in, say hello. Let's see who you are. So, all right. Howdy. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining us. Looks like it might be. Did you invite some folks, Bill?
I invited several, sir.
Oh, good. All right. Terrific. Hello, Hadley. Good to see you. Tiani. Good to see you as well. Tom.
Hello, Tiani.
Very good. Very good. Let's see. Did I say Heidi? Did I say hello to Heidi? Anyway. Okay. Well, what we normally do with these things is we just say hello, go over some of the groundwork a little bit, and then get into it, giving people a couple of extra minutes to get on. So we will go ahead and do that. During the webinar, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in text form. I'll be able to see them. This is it's going to be a good one because, as you are probably all well aware, nobody does, well, I shouldn't say nobody, because Hadley's here, and Bill, she does events every bit as good as you do. We might have to get her to comment on some of this, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Very few people out there do events as well as Bill does. And one of the things about Bill Warren is that he does the same events year after year after year, and they seem to work year after year after year. There's so many people in business, not just jewelers like him, but those of you who are, might have a different kind of profession. I know that most of us on here are jewelers, but what typically happens is people give up on some of their events and those kinds of things, and they give up too soon, I think. And lots of times they give up because they don't work right out of the blocks. And then other times they give up because they work tremendously out of the blocks, and then they kind of drop off after that. So there's a rationale for all that. We're going to have Bill talk about it, and we're going to get underway. So welcome to the July 2019 webinar for the Biz Kaboom Alliance members and their guests. If you haven't signed in yet, please go ahead and do so. It's an honor to have our guests here. It's always an honor to have our members here, but it's a particular honor to have our guests here. These are folks that Bill invited. Of course, Bill Bill's not the longest tenured member of the Biz Kaboom Alliance. He's probably the third longest. I have guys that go back to the early 90s, as a matter of fact, who've been a member ever since then. And I think there's two other folks that have been longer than you, Bill, but that puts you in pretty good company. So welcome to everybody. If you
Awesome.
haven't signed in already, please do so we know who we have online. Be prepared if you have any questions as Bill goes through this some of this stuff. We'll do it in an interview format. But feel free to put your questions in there, and I'll be able to relay them to Bill. Or can you see the chat box, Bill? Can you see it?
I cannot see it.
Okay. All right. So I will relay questions to you as they come up. All right. So what we're talking about today is how to make killer events, how to have events that consistently pay off, what to do in advance of the event, during the event, and after the event to exploit them at the maximum level. And as I said, Bill Warren out of Hudson, North Carolina, a tiny little burg of but 4,000 people. And Bill, why don't you give us a real quick, a history lesson of your experience and how you've gotten to where you are.
Certainly. I come from a family that had been in emerald mining, not too far away. And early on, I had learned how to smith, cut gemstones, things of that nature. I went to work for a jewelry chain in North Carolina, one of the largest, and also spent some time in a guild operation. So I've been all around the jewelry world, so to speak. And I met Jim in the early of it was, and things but I seemed to have hit a glass ceiling at that time. And no matter what I did, we couldn't seem to move the needle any further. So I'd been hearing, about Jim and his plan and his system. So I called him working together for a 4 to 6 month. Little did we know, all these 20 years later, here we are, and we'd be working together and as coaches and helping other jewelers, which I still have my jewelry store today, and I love it as much as I ever have. But a thing that gives me great joy is helping others and helping them build traffic through successful marketing and events. And I would simply say this. I found success in the jewelry business when I quit being a jeweler. Now let that sink in for just a minute. When I quit being a jeweler and became a marketer of jewelry and jewelry-related services, that's when my business exploded. And I believe that's what can happen for each of you as well.
Well, look, that's an incredibly important point. And of course,
So there's my intro.
Yeah, you're talking about jewelers, but the truth of the matter is it's true of anybody. I was on the phone, believe it or not, with a plumber yesterday. And he's grown his business to nearly $1 million. He has 5 trucks, but he's still personally out turning wrenches. And he wants to grow his business about 33%, but he's only spending 1 or 2% of his time on marketing. Now, when you've got 5 trucks, that means you don't have to be in one of those trucks anymore. It's not like the customers are expecting to see you personally. And one of the challenges jewelers has, it seems to me, is they sometimes think that they're the only one, the bench jeweler is the only one that the person comes in to see, or the owner is the only one that they come in to see. They just want their problem solved. They just want to find whatever they need to find. And it doesn't have to be you, the owner, to make that happen. And so when you shifted from jeweler to businessman, that's when the magic all began to really happen for you. Okay, so you're one of the kings of events. How many regular events do you do every year? I mean, the predictable same events year after year after year. We know about the Black Friday one. What other ones do you do?
We have probably 6 of the same events we've been doing for goodness, maybe 15, 20 years now. We have an Easter event, the free Easter egg promo that continues to bring people in just droves. It's amazing. We do a treasure chest event, Pirates Treasure. Uh, we've been doing that for probably 15 years. It
Oh no, you
continues
did good.
to
That was
grow
the
and
first
do
time.
well. Our Black Friday event, which
I can see we've got one of those
I'll be
network
talking about
delays.
Black Friday, obviously in Atlanta and at RJO. Yes, just a little bit. Sorry, those are a few of the events. Some of the events are more social media driven. Some are more direct mail driven. But I do have a formula. It continues to work year after year. So, yeah, that's it.
Good. So
Did I lose you?
no, I'm still here. I think, aren't I? Can you see me? Can you
There
hear me,
you are.
Bill? Oh, okay. All right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
There's a
So
little lag time here.
yeah,
Yes, I can
it's
hear.
like network TV, right? When they got the satellite thing going on. Okay. So at any rate, all right. So let's talk about the way you promote these events. Well, before we get into that, what has been your experience with events in terms of the ebb and flow of the results you get from them?
Okay. Let's take for a promo that we do. That event, it probably is in the 23-year range now. When I first started doing this event, and we could speak the same of the Pirates Treasure event, when I first started doing these, you get this initial surge of people. For example, the Easter egg event brings in, I've had as many as 800 people a week to 2 week about the Pirate's Treasure. What I have found, yes, the event starts off gangbusters, and then you start to see it die down just a little bit. Maybe we don't have 800, but maybe we have 400 people come in a week. Again, a week to 2 week period of time. Here's the thing: who wouldn't love to have 400 people come in your store? And that so and then, as you genetically engineer your marketing, you notice it picks up, but you sort of plateau and you're going along like this. So that's the thing I have found about the events, Jim.
Well, that's really what I found as well. And actually, there's two trajectories, right? The first trajectory is the one that you mentioned. You introduce something new, the public gets all excited about it. You have a tremendous response to it, and then over time, that response settles out. And what typically happens is a retailer does an event, they have that tremendous response, they get all excited about it and say, okay, we're going to do this again next year. Next year, they do it, and it's not quite as good as the first year, but it's still darn good, and they're pretty happy with it. The third year, it drops off again, and now they start to get discouraged. Now, one of the reasons they get discouraged, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong on this, but one of the reasons they get discouraged is they don't connect the actual numbers to the event. All they know is, hey, we didn't have as big a crowds, we didn't sell as much product, and they never say, hey, we spent X, but we made Y, right? And the first year, the Y might have been this much. We spent X and made Y. And the second year, we only made this much. And the third year, we only made this much. And the fourth year, we made this much. But they still were very profitable. But they're discouraged because it doesn't match the numbers of the first year. And so after 3 or 4 years at the most, they quit. And what you're telling me is the experience that you had is, yeah, we took the drop off, but as we genetically engineer our marketing, as you put it, it starts to come back up, and it will plateau. But you're at a point where you can predictably say every year for each of these events, I spend X number of dollars, and I can expect to make Y or more. Is that accurate?
That is absolutely 100% true. And I found it in working with coaching clients. That's one of the things people so often ask. How can I track my marketing and how can I hold it accountable? And on these events, that absolutely works. Let me mention this. Here is something that, for those of us who were in Vegas, Heidi, you're on here, Jim, you were there. Um, I talked about this staying away from the number one. Now, what do I mean by that? Staying away from the number one means you can't just rely on one form of advertising or marketing an event. This is real critical, so I hope you folks are taking notes on this. When I do an event, I usually lead off with direct mail. Now, that may be something like a postcard, that may be oversized. It may even be something like an intention getter like this right here that I'm using. But I always lead off with direct mail because, hey, you've at least got to look at the piece, and that's critical. But I couple that. Go ahead.
I think leave that up there, what you're doing. You just put it up for just a
Sorry,
second.
little lag time there. I couple. Here you go. Black Friday. This is something I've been doing for, goodness, this will be maybe 14, 15 years. Obviously, I do like postcards and things of that nature. I love to have your attention. Here is a one where I have a 4-page sales letter go in. Do you think this is going to capture somebody's attention when it's hand addressed and you see this letter? Oh yeah, it's going to work. But that's one of the mechanics of it. But I always couple and integrate my marketing. If I do a direct mail piece, you can darn well tootin' believe I'm going to do a Facebook posting. I'm going to do a Facebook event. I'm going to couple this doing weekly email blasting. I also couple it with telemarketing. For example, we did an event a few weeks ago, and I had my sales staff calling about 500 clients. Well, we just simply did not have the time to get to 500 clients for an estate event that we were doing. So we met Heidi Kaufman, TK Enterprises, out in Vegas. And Heidi can help you by calling your clients. So using telemarketing. Hey, I text marketing and messaging on this event. So as you can, I'm coupling everything I do and integrating and genetically engineering it, as we say, for ever increasing and effective success. So that's kind of, in a quick 1-minute terminology, how I go about marketing an event.
Okay. I had alluded to the other trajectory, and I better circle back around and tie that up. So the first trajectory was it starts out great and then it drops off and then levels out. The other trajectory is it starts off not so good, and so it gets abandoned immediately, or it starts, but what is likely to happen if you keep at it, if you've done a good job of marketing, you might start off with just a small level of profit, and you say to yourself, well, nah, I don't know if it's worth doing again. Well, try it the next year. See if you can't get it to build a little bit and build a little bit and build a little bit. Now, once you get it to a peak, it will start dropping off. Everything comes to an equilibrium at some point in time. But the main goal is to get from, where I'm spending X and I can predictably say, I will spend X on this regular event and I know I'm going to generate at least Y. And if you do that and are consistent with it, then like Bill says, you can have
That's right.
You can have the same events going on year after year after year after year, and you can pretty well predict how much money you're going to make from those things. All right, Bill, back to your multi-channel approach to marketing. Let's talk about timing for a little bit here. All right, so you know what the event is going to be. How far in advance of the event itself do you drop your direct mail? And not only that, but how much direct mail do you do? I mean, are you just direct mailing to your top 500 people or top 1,000 or 2,000, or how's that work?
Okay. Here, let's use an event I just did, the estate sale that we do once a year, estate event, whatever you want to call it. Um, I pulled up out of my POS system 2,500 customers who basically I'm segmenting them, Jim. I pulled out people who I know love estate jewelry and I marketed to that list with direct mail. I love my pieces, whether it's the estate event, Black Friday, Easter egg, whatever it is. I want my direct mail vehicle to hit about 10 to 12 days in advance. So that's kind of the time frame I'm looking. I've tested this. I've sent it 2 weeks in advance, 7 days in advance. 10 days is the magic number.
Okay. Very good. So that's your direct mail. You're looking at about a 10
And there's that
days in
lag again.
advance is when you drop it to the post. Yeah. I know that it's going to show up if you drop it 10 days in advance. It's going to show up 8 or 9 days in advance. Any further out than that, people tend to forget. Any closer in, it might be too close for them to be able to plan. So there's your magic number there. Okay, so that's the direct mail. Now you're also following up with email blasts. I'm not sure I like that term, Bill, but everybody uses it, right? At any rate, what's the timing on the email?
Okay. On the email blast, I was sending, again, let's allude to the event. I was sending an email, a teaser email about 1 month out. And then every week leading up to that event, I sent one email blast out to my in house customer list. And I found that to kind of whet the appetite, if you will, of my clients. And then when the direct mail piece hits, boom, you've just double whammied, so to speak.
So you're actually leading ahead of your direct mail. You're starting to build that. And is that email goes out ahead of the direct mail several weeks, and then you hit them once a week with it? Is that standard operating procedure for all events?
For me, it is, and I found that to be very effective. One of the other things that I might add is that using Facebook events and doing a posting, and speak, I do that for every event, roughly 3 to 4 weeks out, and start inviting people to take a look at the event. I start doing daily postings to whet the appetite. And that's kind of my method and formology for doing that.
Okay, so relative to the Facebook event, then, and the postings, are these postings just on your daily feed kind of thing, or do you boost the post to the general public?
Great question. Obviously, Facebook will let you invite up to 500 people. The opportunity to, you've run out of invites, they will not let you go any farther. Then you can boost the post to about 1 month out. I will boost that post, and I'll hit another 3 or 4 thousand people with that. Now, that being said, I'm just talking about the people who are on the event page and following that. I'm still doing Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest postings almost daily leading up to that event. Now, I might do my regular postings more like 2 weeks out, but on the actual event page, yes, I'm doing about 1 month out, hitting those people every day so I can whet their appetite. I think that's key.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. And you're not boosting every post, right? You're just you're posting. If you're posting almost daily, I would assume that that goes to your regular folks, and then maybe what, once or twice a week you're boosting posts to get to the greater audience.
You would be correct. And in this last event, I boosted a Art Deco necklace. I think this was a 8 carat Art Deco piece that sold for $23,000. Things of that nature I may boost leading up to the event. And by the way, sometimes I have a preview night for my very most elite customers. If I'm having a 2 day Friday Saturday event, preview night on Thursday. For example, I had a client come in and buy that necklace that I had 3,000 on the. Was I happy? You better believe it.
Yeah, Hadley, you've had great success with the preview nights. You want to weigh in on that a little bit with on the text line and tell us, what your thought is relative to the previews, because I think you do that on a more regular basis than anybody I know. You might want to make a comment, and then I'll relay it by reading the text if you'd be willing to do that. So. Okay, so what we've got, we know we've got some direct mail. Now we've talked a little bit about Facebook. Let's next talk about the telemarketing. What's the timing of the telemarketing, and what is the how many people do you typically call on your list?
Okay, great question. What I do and have found to work is about 2 weeks to a week and a half out, we start the telemarketing where we use Heidi, her service at TK, to start calling, help work with you, develop a script. You can write your own script. But I want all of the other pieces in the puzzle to hit before the telemarketing. In other words, let the direct mail land, let the Facebook post soak in, the e-blast, the all the other pieces in the puzzle, and the last thing that you want is a live voice and touching base the week of to before. That seems to be the best that I have found for using telemarketing. Um, we might also want to add in just a minute how we incorporate text messaging, things like that, into the mix as well. And that's another thing with today's technology. If you're not using texting or some like Podium or whatever plan that you use, and I know there's several out there. I use Podium, for example, and I am text marketing a week out, and I have somebody dedicated to doing nothing but that.
Yeah, yeah, interesting, interesting. Hadley says we always host the night before the event, cater it, and invite our best clients interested in the type of the event, right? So she's tagging people as well, understanding what they're interested in. Yeah, preview nights, inviting our best clients have really sparked some great sales. And I know in Hadley's case, at least a couple of times, her preview nights have outsold the entire main event. So you get the right kind of people in the door, that can be pretty powerful stuff. Okay,
I've had that happen.
let's go ahead. Go ahead. All right, so let's talk about the texting integration for just a second. Go ahead and expound on that a little bit. You've lost me, or am I back?
Okay.
I'm still here.
We come up with a. You're back. There you are. Okay. So what happens on text marketing is I normally come up with a script for my salespeople, and they text it in. They actually can copy it and paste, so you're not sitting typing everything in over and over again. That found, by golly, to be right there with telemarketing effectiveness. Obviously, not to do, so you're money. And again, you're reaching a customer another time. You're reminding them you're there and know, hey, you're important and we want you to come. You're one of the special few that get to come to one of these events. Making the event be exclusive is another thing that I have found to be so important. Uh, Many years ago, a very wise man aptly taught me that, hey, you're just one of 100 customers or 200 customers or whatever it is that are invited to this actual event. So making it is very important to your success. And again, doing more than one thing, integrating your marketing, so crucial. Did I answer your question there?
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads to the next question, which is, hey, what about budget for all this stuff? I mean, now you've talked about direct mail, you've talked about email, talked about telemarketing, and now texting. Now, those are four different channels, and we haven't really talked much about how to reach out to the general public on these things either. So far, all these media, with the marginal exception of Facebook, which can get to a broader audience. All these media are, just going to your existing customer base at this point in time. So, what about the spend on these things? What kind of money are you investing on just the events or just the aspect of the promotion that goes to your existing customer base?
On something like this estate event, we've just we've just had unusual success with. I spent about $3,000, and that's doing direct mail. That's my your telemarketing costs. That's your texting and everything there. That's mailed out everything. Then we add in another thing like my favorite mass media vehicle is radio. And again, I've tested and tracked what works best in my area. For me, in a mountain town, FM country radio is absolutely the hands down winner. So if I want to get my message out to the mass public at large, I want to do it with the radio station. And I know the station I may spend, in addition to the 3,000 I've just talked about, I may spend something like another $500. And for me, every market is different, but for me, $500 on my local FM station gets me 5 commercials a day for 1 week. And I'm putting those commercials at very opportune times because I'm a really good customer at this radio station and they let me do that. And drive time is crucial. So I'm adding that. I don't really like newspaper a lot because it's not effective in my market. I'm not so big on cable TV here, but for mass marketing, it's always going to be radio, Facebook, Instagram, boosting it and doing ads, things of that nature.
Yeah. So, and I want to point out when you talk about the original four that we talked about, right? Those are all, the costs of those things are pretty universal, right? So you talk about direct mail. You could be in New York City or you could be in Hudson, North Carolina, and the direct mail costs you about the same per piece to get it out there, right? The Facebook posts cost you about the same to boost them. Telemarketing costs you per phone call, so it's a flat fee. It doesn't matter where you're at; it's going to cost you. You could be in the biggest city, the smallest city. All of these media costs about the same, right? Now you start to look at radio, and in Bill's market, radio probably makes incredible sense. But if you are in New York City or Cincinnati or some a larger town, it may be cost prohibitive for a one store operation to be able to do radio. You might have to choose something else. Maybe it's every door direct mail. But Bill alluded to a number of things that are vitally important in there, and that is you test and you track. Notice Bill said, I know which radio stations work for me and which don't, right? So he's tracked, he's paid attention to all this, and he doesn't have to worry about spending on the newspaper, not because the newspaper's bad everywhere, but in his market, he knows it hasn't worked for him. In some radio stations work better than others. So you track these things and pay attention to the response you get. And as you do, you are able to eliminate the stuff that doesn't work, stop spending money on those things, and redirect resources, financial resources, into the things that have proven to work. And the efficiency then of your marketing goes up in terms of the response you get and those kinds of things. Okay. All right. The nature of the message.
Let me interject something right there, Jim, if you don't mind.
Please.
What I might add is something. Let's go back for just a moment. Did you realize, and for those of you who have been watching the last little bit, do you realize you have your own TV station right there in your store? I've went and bought a tripod. I use my iPad, and then when we do an event like this, look live. In other words, we'll go on, and it's just like, I call it Goldmine TV, and free, unless you want to boost it, but you can do that leading up to your event. And you have your own TV station, interview customers, interview the people doing the event. Like at this last one, I had an interesting guy here who had happened to work with Elizabeth Taylor and Ava Gardner. So he had some great stories to tell. So there is another piece of the puzzle. Facebook Live. Jim just mentioned every door direct mail. Yes, I use that too. It depends what I'm up to, what my event is. But before we go today, I do want to share what happened at the event. I had a total spend dollars for this. We did in 2 days, because I was so excited. We did $100,000, not to mention the other business that came as a result of having this traffic flow, people learning about you, and my goodness. There isn't a retailer, a jeweler, gift shop on here who wouldn't trade $4,000 for $100,000, is there?
I don't know. I mean, if you could pull that off, you'd do it all day, every day, right? So that is exactly right. Yeah, that's a nice return on investment. 4,000 to 100,000.
You certainly would.
Even if your margins are a little on the side because you're doing something that that you made some kind of an offer, that's still a heck of a ROI. And so, yeah, you're exactly right. Now let's talk about offers for just a second. I mean, how is it, why is it that you get so many people coming? And I want to couch that in terms of, why do they come to the Easter egg thing where you actually aren't selling anything, okay? And why do they come to the Black Friday thing where you're selling stuff that, during the regular course of the year would probably not be in your inventory? And so what role do offers play in the success of these events?
Okay. Well, let's take Black Friday, for example. And therein is another promotion event that has its own bells and whistles. And for Black Friday, obviously, you've got to be able to write offers and things that will attract attention. For me, in making the offer for Black Friday, if you're going to play the Black Friday game, and I don't want to give away a lot of it because I'm going to be talking about this at RJO and the Atlanta Jewelry Show soon. I will just say this: if you're involved in getting Black Friday people to your store, play the price game. So that day, in other words, when I'm saying price, what attracts people to Walmart? I'll tell you what it is. It's the 200 square foot big screen TV that's going for $59. That's exactly what it is. You've got to be able to come up with something in your store that will have that kind of, you like that, didn't you? So you've got to have something that drives people into your store and creates a feeding frenzy. I have one or price that I have found to be very effective, and that is at $9.99 and limiting it to 4 per customer, and creating the sense of urgency. Here's what I do. I have this one item. I offer it for $9.99, a $49 value. I bought hundreds of these. I limit 4 per customer, and you can only get that between the hours of 8 on Black Friday. Now, I do that for a lot of reasons. One, it creates urgency. 2, it usually, if Aunt Sally is coming in to buy 4 bracelets at $10, well, she knows she can't get any more, so she brings her sister, she brings her cousin. And then you keep building and you keep creating this feeding frenzy. And folks, when I say that, I'm talking about crowds at my store of 300 to 500 people every Black Friday. I've got the pictures to prove it for the last 14 years. Saying that, creating that kind of an offer, that kind of traffic in your store. When I spoke at Vegas a few weeks ago, it does, if you're any kind of a salesperson at all, folks, the blind hog wanders into the trough every once in a while. You're going to sell other things. We sell other things. I've sold Rolexes, pre-owned Rolexes. I've sold 2-carat diamonds. You can't help but do business when you have that kind of traffic making those kind of strong offers. Hope that answered your question, Jim.
Oh, it absolutely does. And, a couple of nuances there. Number one, you have to buy for these kinds of events. In other words, you have to, when you go to your trade shows, when you talk to your vendors, you have to buy in preparation for these kinds of events. And, that's part of that preparation, is to have to be able to have the kinds of offers that people literally say to themselves, it's worth getting up at 5 in the morning to get down to Bill's store instead of Walmart, instead of Best Buy, instead of Target. I'm going to go to the Gold Mine Jewelry Store and stand out there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours before the thing opens so I can get in on these kinds of deals. You have to think that through far enough in advance to actually buy for it, okay? So that's number one. Number two, the falling off a log, you're going to sell some stuff. The way to maximize that, and I want you to address this, Bill, is the way you staff for that particular event. And I don't know if you also staff for some of these other events this way, but you once told me how you staff for the event, how you put people at the checkout, and your key salespeople are roaming the floor selling. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. Here's the thing. You better go out and get your brother, your cousins, and be ready for these kind of events. Yes, I do add extra staff for these events. I have people that have either worked here before, it depends on the situation. Me, myself, I want to be on the sales floor selling the big pieces, and that's what I do. I will have cousins come in and do nothing but writing up a sale, having things at a station. And by the way, people ask me, here I am in this little town in the mountains of North Carolina, how do you handle this kind of traffic flow? Up to 3 registers going at any time. And those items that I feature as early bird specials, I have those items at those stations. We have credit card machines there, and we funnel people in to these aisles and these stations. So then it leaves the sales floor open so that myself and my best salespeople will be on the floor selling. So yes, I tend to do these things for most events. Some I need more help than others, obviously, but you know about it.
And okay, so we've really talked about what you do in advance. We've talked about the kinds of offers that it takes to compel. Oh, we didn't. We missed one thing. Was the Easter egg event where you actually don't sell anything, you just give stuff away. So why don't you
Okay.
explain that just real quick?
Sure. And I don't want people sitting here thinking I'm doing one sale after another. No, no, no. Au contraire. What I'm doing is events. The Easter egg event, we send 4,000 postcards out and to our in-store mailing list. And it invites people to come into the store. They have the chance, they come in. We have this huge Easter egg basket sitting in the middle of the store filled with eggs, and everybody gets to come in and pull. Everybody absolutely wins a free prize. And there is free is the most powerful. So we employ that and win a free prize. Is there just one prize? No, we have up to 400 different prizes. So this last Easter egg event, we had 600 people come in. So yeah, I had to scramble a little bit. Some things might be earrings, things we've had a little while. Some things might be samples. Some might be a free watch battery change. Some might be, I have tons of 5, 10, 15, $25 gift certificates. So that is, and then you have your major prizes, which I usually maybe up to 10, valued at probably $2,000. People have the chance more than just having one prize. They know they're going to get something. And now that we're 23, 24 years into the Easter egg promo, we have all of this word of mouth going around. Oh, yeah, Aunt Sally last year won a 1 carat ring down at the gold mine. So these events, keep doing them. Don't quit over time. And I found it to be the way to go is create foot traffic. Events make you the talk of the town. Events, if you do it right, fun, and that's what you want. You want to give your customer world to come in your store because hey, it's fun to go down to the gold mine.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's good. Got a couple of questions here. I think we've got a couple of questions here. Hadley says, do the salespeople send the text messages from their personal cell phones, or do you have a way of sending it out from the store?
We send it out from the store, Jim. As I said, these salespeople can log into different computers or iPads that I have in the store and send it directly from there, but it comes from the store itself.
Okay. Jennifer has a question. You might need to clarify it for me, though, Jennifer. I'm not sure what you're asking, but what about those that are buying for gifts and you are live? Oh, I get you. Yeah. So you're doing a Facebook Live event, and people are buying for gifts to somebody else, I think is what she's saying there. Yeah, if you've got customers in the store, they might be seen on the Facebook Live thing, and therefore giving away that they are giving a gift. My guess is, Bill, and I'm not sure about this, but because you've actually done it, my guess is that the average customer, A, doesn't even think about that. B, they don't know that it's going to be on Facebook Live. C, even at its best, there's not that many people watching Facebook Live. And D, people like being on TV so much, they probably won't worry about it. But those are just off the top of my head reasons why it's not something to worry about, whether you interview your customers or they're seen in the background.
That's right. Now, I have had a situation where I was doing a Facebook Live, and a lady in Myrtle Beach happened to be in the area, but now she's Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. 4 hours away, text in on the Facebook Live and said, "Hey, is this item still available?" So we got through the event. Actually, I didn't even see her post while I was doing the live event. But when I got off, I wrote back, "Yeah, it's available, $8,000 sale." Boom, just because I did Facebook Live.
That's what I call a direct response, my friend. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left. One thing I want to address is follow-up. After events, do you have anything, if you generate a lead during an event or just generate a lead period, do you have follow-up systems in place to make sure that these people don't fall through the cracks? If so, give me a sense of what that follow-up system kind of looks and feels like.
Absolutely. First of all, when people come in my store, I'm asking them where they heard about us from, because why I want to test and track my marketing. So I'm making mental get to the cash register, but I'm capturing things like emails, like birthdays, anniversaries, and let's just use our ladies' night event. For example, my wife had been wanting to do this for some time now. Our ladies' nights prior to Christmas and prior to Valentine's Day. This is mostly a social media event, and we create a Facebook event on our page, invite up to 500 ladies, and then we start telemarketing, email blasting. Basically, other than boost posting, I haven't spent a lot to do a lady. I found successful is here's about those offers. I get this little gift bag together, and we offer the first 25 ladies in the door a really nice gift bag with, it might have a wine glass, it might have Bath and Body Works gift sets in there, something of that nature. It might have a little coupon to use the night of the event. Then we'll have finger foods, hors d'oeuvres at the event. We local student come in from a school who's needing credit at his local college to do massage. And here's the thing. I have found on these ladies' night events that we'll typically do $7,000 or $8,000 that night. But we also are taking wish lists, and we're capturing again. If it's one of our regular clients, we already know them. We know who they are. If it's a new client, I'm capturing their direct mail marketing purposes. And then after the event is over, they put on there, only this is what I want. Here's my boyfriend or my husband's number, his cell phone, text him, whatever. This past Christmas, we did this ladies' night. Followed up after having done $8,000. The ladies had fun. Followed up in the next coming weeks. Get this, we did $60,000 from ladies' night total. My whole spend for the event was more on the food, the thing, a few boost posts. I might have spent $500. That's how you create traffic, fun. You get talked about in your town, and that's the power of doing these events in your store.
Yeah, there's a couple of things there that I think bear some reinforcement. One is you wind up with rock solid customer relationships for a couple of reasons. Number one, you are an enjoyable place to go and do business with. It's fun to do business at the gold mine. It's fun to be at the gold mine, those kinds of things. But number two, you've trained your customers, hey, X number of times a year there's going to be an event. The event's going to be fun. I'm going to be able to access good bargains and values, those kinds of things. The gold mine takes care of me because there is a follow-up system in place when somebody says they want something, those kinds of things. And all this constitutes what ultimately people say they're after, but very few people actually achieve it. And that is usually a dirty word for me. You know what's coming, Bill. Brand, right? Because what Bill has going is a massive group of happy, repeat buying customers. It doesn't matter what your store looks like. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter at all what your store looks like, but you can choose whatever kind of decor you want. You can have your store look any way that you want it to look. You may spend a lot of time and effort making sure there's a great deal of continuity in your graphic approach to your postcards or your mailings, and make sure that it coordinates nicely with the interior colors of the store and your website and all that kind of stuff. And all that stuff that the traditional advertising people say is branding. And I'm here to tell you, you got nothing unless you have tons and tons of happy buying, referring, rebuying customers. Then and only then do you have a brand. And I would say to you that Bill has a brand in his marketplace. There's no doubt about it. Everybody knows who you are, Bill. Everybody knows what kind of business you have. Everybody enjoys doing business with you. That, therefore, is a brand.
Yes. One thing that I might add, let's back up for just a moment to Black Friday. Here is an unattended but wonderful happened over the years at Black Friday. When we started having all these crowds years ago, the local newspapers, the local radio, whatever, the local media started finding out about it. It tickled me to death to wake up one morning, headline newspaper ad, local beats the big box stores at their, that, my friends, was priceless. It was free publicity. And I've never forgotten that. I wish I'd have saved it. It's somewhere. But anyway, it's true.
Yeah, Hadley has a comment here relative to the swag bags, and I think she has an important nuance here. I said, you've had great luck offering swag bags to entice people in. She said, yes, and it's important to put a value on the swag bag, that it's part of the invitation. Just for coming in, you'll receive a gift bag with X number of items in it valued at $100. That kind of thing. This is one of the basic premises of a strong offer. People have to understand what they're getting. Go ahead.
Now that is a great, and you've absolutely got to assign values anytime you're giving free gifts, things of that nature. So thank you for bringing that up.
Happy to do so. Now we're about to wrap up, so I would like everybody that's on to be aware of what we've got coming. As you all know, who are jewelers, we have the Jewelers Marketing Gems website, and that is the site where we have turnkey marketing programs that are licensable by you. They're complete programs. They include all the pieces of the puzzle that you need to put into play in order to make these things happen. So Bill has been good enough to say, all right, I will make my Black Friday promotion a part of the turnkey programs, and we've yet to establish a price for it. There will be a long-term price, but there will also be an introductory price for the Black Friday program, and it will be up and ready for you to use this holiday season. Now, don't forget, you have to buy for this event. And so if you're going to RJO or you're going to Atlanta or you're going to any other jewelry shows, you're going to need to buy for it. Part of the turnkey program will be some insights on how to buy and what to buy to make that work. Right, Bill? Shake your head. All right. And then and we will.
Yes.
So if you are interested in executing the Bill Warren Black Friday event in your town, shoot me an email. Okay, I don't want you to put it on the comments thing here. I want you to shoot me an email. So it's mail, MAIL, at ascendmarketing.com. That's ASCEND marketing.com. Mail at ascendmarketing.com. Make sure I have your name. Obviously, as a member of the Biz Kaboom Alliance, I already have your contact information. There are some guests here that Bill invited in, and we're happy to have you, and we're happy to include you in this offer. Okay, so, but again, email me. We're putting it all together. We will put it up on the website, but it's not too early to determine what you're going to do for the holidays. And if this is something you're interested in, now's really a pretty good time to get going. I can promise you this: you will get preferential treatment. You will get a better price than people will next year, because this is going to be the introductory year for it. And you'll probably get an even better price if you're in before, let's say, September 1st. To be one of the first ones to take advantage of what is already a profit-proven, cash-generating, money-making enterprise based on rock-solid, proven marketing principles and a long, long track record of successful implementation. That's what I would do if I were you. Bill, any last words?
I would just say this. Thanks for having me today, folks. Jim hit on a point just a moment ago that when I'm speaking at seminars, I always drill this home. Quit worrying about the brand like that and start becoming a better response marketer. When you start making offers, when you start giving customers a reason to come in, as Jim just said, you'll build your brand. So thank you for tuning in today. And Jim, thank you for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure to have you, as always, Bill. As Bill pointed out at the very beginning, he still has his jewelry store. He's still passionate about it. But you should also know that he is a licensed, certified, principle-centered marketing coach. Paul Furs is also a licensed, certified, principle-centered marketing coach, as is Royce Blake and myself. So there's actually 4 of us. We've got a reasonably decent capacity to add some coaching clients. And what I'm suggesting here, we have a pretty dang good track record of success. So successful is the track record is that we offer all of our clients a 200% return on investment guarantee. So if you have never been through the coaching program, if you're unaware of the coaching program, if you'd like more details on the coaching program, and in fact, if you would like the Black Friday turnkey marketing program for absolutely free, you could enroll in the coaching program. So if you have any interest in that, include that in the email as well, and we will distribute you to either myself or one of the other 3 coaches to have a discussion about the coaching program. You're certainly welcome to license just the Black Friday program, but it's not about an individual program. It is about how to be a wise marketing business person, and you've seen one of those today who's got a multi-decade long track record of success as he shifted his thinking, got the education that we provide in the coaching program, and I think it's fair to say it turned his life around, right, Bill? So we thank you for being with us. We look forward to continuing to serve you in any capacity that we can. And again, thanks for joining the Biz Kaboom Alliance. Don't forget to take advantage of your free consultation if you are a Biz Kaboom Alliance member. And for those of you who are guests, if you want more information on the Biz Kaboom Alliance, apart from the other things we've talked about, please, in your emails to mail@ascendmarketing.com, don't hesitate to ask for that information as well. Thanks a lot, everybody, and we will see you next month, if not sooner.